Hi people, how are you doing? Hope you're well. My video for today is Sheng language in Kenya Part 1, its history. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. My video for today is Sheng language in Kenya Part 1, and I will take you through the history of this language, and it goes like this. The word Sheng is coined from the two languages derived from Swahili and English. The H was included from the middle of Swahili because Seng would have sounded unusual. So Sheng is merged from Swahili words with English words, and so the Wahili, if you remove Wahili and you merge S with Ing, you merge those words and you now form what you call Seng. And if you add the H in the middle of the S, you now pronounce it Sheng. And the term was first recorded in the year 1965, and Sheng originated in the early 1950s in the Eastlands area of Nairobi, and Sheng is now heard among the matatu drivers or touts across the region and in the popular media. You find that if you enter into a matatu, you find matatu touts or drivers conversing in Sheng. They don't converse in Kiswahili or proper Kiswahili or proper English. They communicate in Sheng. Yeah. And not only matatu drivers and touts, you will find even robbers or thugs. They converse in Sheng. They don't talk in English or Kiswahili, proper Kiswahili. They talk in Sheng. And it is assumed to be the first language of many Kenyans in the urban areas. So if you grew up in specifically in Nairobi, you find yourself talking in Sheng from the time you're 7 years old or 5 years old till now. Especially if you grew up in in areas like Eastlands, Mathare, even in the poorer areas. If you grew up in those poorer areas, you find yourself conversing in Sheng from your childhood times up to your adult times. And it is mostly used by the youths, and it is part of the popular culture in Kenya. Most of the time, the youth in this country converse to each other in Sheng. Young boys and girls converse in Sheng in high schools, even in campuses, even in the streets of Nairobi. It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, you find Sheng is being conversed by the youths across in different areas. You you go. And Sheng language keeps on changing. It is not static. The words keep on changing. Like for example, if you go to Eastlands, the words are different from the words from the Sheng in, for example, Madare or Dandora. Yeah, and it found broad usage among hip hop artists like Kalmashaka, Jirongi, Meja, Nonini, Juakali, Pilipili, Jimwat, Abbas, Calligraph Jones, Mbogi Kenje, Saru, Bobby Mapesa, Wawesh, Mad Trucks, Nazizi, even Waire at times uses Sheng in his songs. Even Sauti Sol sometimes they sing in Sheng, sometimes they sing in English. Yeah, and the genre of hip hop in Kenya are mostly these genge, these gengeton, and this kapuka. And Sheng was used Sheng was blamed for spoiling pure languages like Kiswahili, English, and other Kenyan languages, and to have negative impacts of Swahili language in schools. I remember when I was in primary school, don't speak in Sheng. Don't use Sheng, because you'll end up writing bad compositions. And if you grow up in those times, I'm sure you will remember when your teachers in primary school will tell you, don't speak in Sheng because you'll end up writing bad compositions, both in Kiswahili and English. And by that time, in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, it wasn't mainstream. If from 2010s, that's when Sheng started becoming mainstream in TV's television programs, in radio stations. Yeah, for example, nowadays, Sheng is part of linguistic national identity, and it eliminates ethnicity. So someone who is a Kikuyu, or who is a Luo, someone who is Luya, someone who is Kalenjin can speak in Sheng. Yes, any person from any tribe can speak in Sheng, and this one, it eliminates ethnicity, because Sheng unifies people from every ethnic background, and it's seen in movies, even in magazines. For example, Nairobi Half-Life in 2012, the actors converse in Sheng. There's this Shuja's magazine, which is the captions are shown in Sheng. This Kwani magazine, which is the words are shown in Sheng, and Sheng borrows words from Luya, Kikuyu, Luo, and Kamba, and other languages. There's one word that it even borrows from some words in Lingala. For example, bolingo zangu. something like that. It's a Lingala word. Yeah, hope you've learned something from Sheng language in Kenya, part 1, its history. If you've learned something from this video, comment down below and bye.